does that mean and what does that look like? It is here that I think I and perhaps we get in trouble when we start talking about what does living a life of servanthood look like. Some of you may wonder or may think about how easy it is for a church to become political, and how easy it can be for us to speak out on political issues, which can be uncomfortable. It can be very uncomfortable. I want those of you who have felt kind of that hurt, that frustration, that wondering around the political element, to know that you are heard. That you are heard in this space. But I invite you to go deeply into what these texts for today are calling us to be about. You see, if we go back to 2nd Isaiah and the text that is there, it is a poetic imagination, a poetic wondering about one who will give relief to the people. People who have been called or have been taken into exile and have been living through monotony and catastrophe, who have struggled and struggled and are just longing for a voice within their faith tradition of hope, of reprieve, of knowing that God stands with them. Or, as we hear in the gospel text, we have Jesus talking to the 12 and reframing from this idea of a scarcity model of glory into an abundant model of servanthood. Now, it has nothing to do with money or finances, but it has to do with how we live our lives. And how we are called to reshape them, to live in that deep servanthood. And this is about lifting up those who are on the margins. It follows story after story of those who have been healed. Healed from blindness, healed from their leprosy, healed from the ways that they have been marginalized in their community and brought back in. And we are invited as people of faith to say, how are we invited to be that servant leader today? To live authentically with those who have been marginalized. Who are the people whose lack of sight or hearing or their physical impairment has cast them outside the bounds of community? And how are we called to go and be a presence of healing and of hope? What about those people who are on the fringe because of the color of their skin or who their parents are? The Samaritans of yesterday, who are they today? Who are being marginalized or oppressed? And how do we stand with them? Then, how do we stand here in community and speak a thoughtful and profound word, both of welcome but also prophetic witness? Even when it is hard. Especially when it gets hard. You see those people of faith, Dietrich Bonhoeffer, Oscar Romero, Martin Luther King, Mother Teresa, they knew how tough things could be. Sometimes even from within the church or the faith tradition. But they couldn't stop because they knew that underneath it all is this profound call to being a servant, to living a life of service. Now we can dream. We can dream of who we might hobnob with tomorrow, or the clothes we might wear, or the riches we might earn or inherit. But are we willing to reframe that dream? instead dream about that one person whose life was touched because of a conversation that you had over coffee when they were feeling lost and dejected. Or that person who is so worried about what it means for them to be able to vote when they don't have a birth certificate that gives their exact name, and the cost that might come with trying to get one, and the time that it might consume. Or the people who are just trying to figure out how to be a family when their voices in newspapers or in our society continue to tear them down. These are questions. And yes, today, in this place, in this time, they are political questions. But we as people of faith don't come at them through the lens of politics. We come at them through the lens of what it means to be a servant and to care for all of God's people. It's a theological answer to a question foisted on us from the political sphere. May we, as people, join together this day and always, and perhaps smile and nod and joke about James and John and how they missed the boat the first time around, and perhaps in seeing that, our own goofiness and silliness when we too miss the boat. And may we hear Jesus' words that call us back into that question of who we might be, and look to people like Mother Teresa, who in life and in death can inspire and transform and call us to new ways of being as servants